علينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق اللہ العظیم۔ ان آیات مبارکہ کا ترجمہ: اللہ کسی جان پر اس کی طاقت کے برابر ہی بوجھ ڈالتا ہے۔ کسی جان نے جو اچھا کمایا وہ اسی کے لیے ہے، اور کسی جان نے جو برا کمایا اس کا وبال اسی پر ہے۔ اے ہمارے رب، اگر ہم بھولیں یا خطا کریں تو ہماری گرفت نہ فرما۔ اے ہمارے رب، اور ہم پر بھاری بوجھ نہ رکھ جیسا تو نے ہم سے پہلے لوگوں پر رکھا تھا۔ اے ہمارے رب، اور ہم پر وہ بوجھ نہ ڈال جس کی ہمیں طاقت نہیں، اور ہمیں معاف فرما دے اور ہمیں بخش دے، اور ہم پر مہربانی فرما۔ تو ہمارا مالک ہے، بس کافر قوم کے مقابلے میں ہماری مدد فرما۔ صدق اللہ العظیم۔
Jazakallah. May I request you all to kindly rise for the national anthem of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Raja Pervez Ashraf, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Muhammad bin Ibrahim Al-Sheikh, Chairman, Majlis Shura of the Kingdom of the Saudi Arabia, Secretary, National Assembly, Deputy Speakers of Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, and Sri Lanka, delegates from the Middle countries of Belgium, Egypt, Iran, Kenya, Kyrgyz Republic, Lebanon, Oman, Syria, the United Kingdom and Scotland, and the United States of America, honorable parliamentarians, leaders of political parties, jurists, members of the legal fraternity, civil society, women activists, non-Muslim community leaders, media persons, youths, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Assembly of Pakistan, I am privileged to welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of the International Constitutional Convention to mark the Golden Jubilee of the passage of the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. April 10, ladies and gentlemen, is the red letter day in our national history when after 25 years, Pakistan was finally gifted with a consensus, unanimously agreed constitution, and the homeland finally fulfilled the definition of an Islamic, federal, parliamentary, democratic state. To mark the 50th anniversary of this historic achievement, a comprehensive set of activities were planned under the personal supervision of the Honorable Speaker, National Assembly, along with a Parliamentary Advisory Committee. May I take you a moment to watch a recap of the historic day of April 10, 1973, and the activities that we all planned and executed to mark this occasion.
عوام کے منتخب کیے ہوئے 136 نمائندوں نے آج سپہر 2:40 پر وفاقی دارالحکومت اسلام آباد میں واقع اس ہال میں قوم کے مستقبل کی محافظ اس دستاویز یعنی آئین پر دستخط کر کے اسے غیر فانی بنا دیا ہے۔ اس وقت ہم آپ کی خدمت میں اس جلوس اور پریزیڈنسی میں ہونے والی تقریب کی ریکارڈنگ پیش کر رہے ہیں۔ اب یہاں سے ایک جلوس کی شکل میں یہ اراکین پریزیڈنسی جائیں گے۔ آئین کی دستاویز پر دستخط کرنے کے بعد ایک جلوس کی شکل میں پریزیڈنسی گئے، جہاں انہوں نے یہ دستاویز صدر مملکت جناب ذوالفقار علی بھٹو کی خدمت میں پیش کی۔ نیشنل اسمبلی کے اراکین بھی پریزیڈنسی پہنچ گئے۔ ان کے آگے وہ تاریخی دستاویز ہے جس پر آج سپہر اسلام آباد میں ان اراکین نے دستخط کیے تھے اور اب صدر پاکستان کی خدمت میں پیش کی جائے گی، جو اپنے دستخط ثبت کر کے جمہوریہ پاکستان کے پہلے عوامی آئین کی توثیق کر دیں گے۔ آئین کی دستاویز صدر پاکستان کی خدمت میں پیش کی جا رہی ہے۔ اب صدر پاکستان نے اس پر اپنے دستخط ثبت کر دیے ہیں اور اس طرح اسلامی جمہوریہ پاکستان کے پہلے عوامی، اسلامی، جمہوری، وفاقی اور پارلیمانی آئین کی توثیق ہو گئی ہے۔ صدر پاکستان نے اس دستاویز پر اپنے دستخط ثبت کر کے آج 12 اپریل 1973 کو اسلامی جمہوریہ پاکستان کے پہلے عوامی آئین کی توثیق کر دی۔
میں نے کل اپنی تقریر میں کہا تھا کہ یہ آئین پاکستان کے عوام کا آئین ہے، یہ آپ کا آئین ہے۔ اس آئین کو پاکستان کے کوششوں نے اور پاکستان کے صلاحیتوں نے بنایا ہے۔ یہ آئین بڑی مدت کے بعد بنا ہے، بڑے طویل تلاش کے بعد بنا ہے، اور اس لیے اگر اس کی تعریف ہونی ہے اور خواہ اس کی گلا بھی ہونی ہے تو وہ تعریف صرف آپ ہی کر سکتے ہیں، اور اگر اس آئین میں کوئی کمی پیشی ہے اس کی نکتہ چینی بھی صرف پاکستان کے عوام ہی کر سکیں گے۔ اس لیے میں کوئی چیز نہیں ہوں، میں صرف قومی اسمبلی کا ایک رکن تھا، اور اس رکن کے حیثیت میں نے اپنی مکمل کوشش کی کہ اس جدوجہد میں جو پاکستان کے عوام کا جدوجہد تھا اس میں ہم کامیاب رہیں۔
جمہوریت کی شان آئین وطن परचमे जमहूरियत की शान आईने वतन
दौलते बेदार पाकिस्तान
आईने वतन परचमे जमहूरियत की शान आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन
मुल्क को दीगी आरज़ू का तर्जुमान
हमने की मंजिल क़ुव्वत का निशान
अदलो इंसाफ व सदाकत की ज़बान कौम पर अल्लाह का एहसान
आईने वतन परचमे जमहूरियत की शान आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन
है यही इकबाल की ताबीर ख्वाब
आइदे आज़म का नक्शे कामयाब
आफ़ताब आमद दलीले आफ़ताब एक नई तारीख का उन्वान
आईने वतन परचमे जमहूरियत की शान आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन
कौम की आवाज़ दस्तूरे अवाम
अज़मतों का राज दस्तूरे अवाम
एक नया आगाज़ दस्तूरे अवाम हालो मुस्तक़बिल का इत्मीनान
आईने वतन परचमे जमहूरियत की शान 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 आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन आईने वतन
It was indeed history created during this whole month, where from a commemorative step to printing the original document of the Constitution, we went a long way. Now, with utmost respect, I take the honor of inviting the man behind the entire Constitution celebrations, the custodian of the House, the defender of the parliamentary supremacy, 3 times member of the National Assembly, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, and the 22nd Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan for his inaugural address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency, Dr. Abdullah bin Muhammad bin Ibrahim al-Sheikh, Chairman Majlis-e-Shura of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Deputy Speakers of Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, and Sri Lanka, delegates from brotherly country of Belgium, Egypt, Iran, Kenya, Kyrgyz Republic, Lebanon, Oman, Syria, the United Kingdom and Scotland, and the United States of America. Honorable parliamentarians, leaders of political parties, jurists, members of the legal fraternity, comrades of the civil society, women activists, non-Muslim community leaders, academia, media person, youth, and students, ladies and gentlemen. I feel overwhelmed as I welcome you all to this all-inclusive and truly representative international constitutional convention to celebrate the golden jubilee of the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. The presence of each one of you is indeed a manifestation of your personal allegiance to constitutionalism, democracy, and rule of law through the chosen representative of the people. I am particularly grateful to our Prime Minister, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, for his continued support and personal interest in the month-long celebrations of the 50 years of Constitution. This indeed speaks of his undaunting faith in the supremacy of Parliament, and the entire House joins me in applauding him for his untiring efforts. I am equally grateful to the leadership of my party, the Pakistan People's Party, namely President Asif Ali Zardari and Foreign Minister, Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, for their unflinching commitment to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. Your every step in this direction echoes the sacrifices of the 1973 Constitution, Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and the martyr of democracy, Shahid Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto. My personal gratitude is also due to the able and visionary leadership of Maulana Fazlur Rahman and his party Jamiyat-e-Ulama Islam. Mr. Khalid Maqbool Siddiqui and members of Muttahida Qawmi Movement, Mr. Khalid Magsi and Balochistan Awami Party, Sardar Akhtar Mangal and Balochistan National Party, Chaudhry Shujaat Hussain and Pakistan Muslim League Qaid-e-Azam, Mr. Asfand Jar Wali Khan and Awami National Party, Nawabzada Shahzain Khan Bhugti and Jamhuri Watan Party, Mr. Mohsen Dawar and National Democratic Movement, and independent support of Mr. Aslam Bhutani, Ali Nawaz Shah, and Mr. Ali Wazir for their combined efforts in safeguarding the guiding principles of our Constitution, namely Islam, federalism, and parliamentary democracy. I also recognize Mr. Mahmood Achakzai and Amir Jamaat-e-Islami, and I will be failing in my duties if I do not acknowledge the valuable contributions of our leader of the opposition, Raja Muhammad Riaz, and members of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Grand Democratic Alliance, and Jamaat-e-Islami for their valuable role as effective opposition, ensuring parliamentary accountability and strong check on the government. Each one of you shall be remembered by our history books for your respective role as vanguards of fundamental rights, personal freedoms and people's supremacy as promised by our Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, over 75 years ago, the Muslims of South Asia united under the leadership of the Qaid-e-Azam to create a homeland, manifesting the free will of the people, a homeland respecting dialogue, diversity, and democracy. It was the Qaid who in 1928, through his famous 14 points, taught us to respect federalism and provincial autonomy. It was the Qaid's vision of Pakistan to be a democracy based upon the Islamic principles of equality, justice, and fair play. Indeed, it was the Qaid who, in his first address to the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan on the 10th of August 1947, declared it the sovereign and supreme body of the state. Sadly, the vision of the great Qaid was lost to personal and petty interest, where democracy was relegated to a club of the privileged few, and the will of the people became hostage to the whims of a dictator. This indeed sums up the sad saga of the failure of the two previous constitutions of 1956 and 1962, and ultimately the tragedy of 1971. And yet, the innate desire of the people of Pakistan for a democratic federal parliamentary state rekindled. They rose from the ashes under the dynamic leadership of Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and succeeded in achieving the first ever consensus constitution in less than 2 years. 10th of April, 1973 saw the entire spectrum of our national leadership unanimously penning a constitution which was not a decision of an individual, but a joint resolve of a united federal nation. April 10, 1973 is the culmination of our nation's journey from a dictatorial to a democratic we the people. April 10, 1973, therefore, is the most bright, shining, and historic moment of our national history after 14th August 1947. I seek a moment from all of you to pay our joint homage to that entire 146-member National Assembly of 1973, that historic 26-member Constitution Drafting Committee, and indeed the entire leadership of those troubled times, who rose above all interest and gave the nation a united identity as free and equal citizens of an Islamic, democratic, federal state. I am honored to inform this convention that my secretariat has finally rediscovered the entire record of the proceeding of the 26-member Constitution Drafting Committee. These remained missing from the public eye for 50 years. And now, in order to ensure that it is not lost again to the changing winds, I am ordering this record be declassified, printed to shape a book, and made available to all citizens of Pakistan for research and public knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, the journey of our nation to be masters of their destiny does not end with the passage of 1973 Constitution. It is unfortunate to note that despite this historic achievement, the agent of tyranny kept striking again and again. During the last 5 decades, within the first democratically elected Prime Minister and the founder of the Constitution, Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, was sent to gallows in 1979. Long and dark nights of dictatorship were forced upon us, where either the Constitution was kept in abeyance or tempered to lose its soul and spirit. But what the forces of darkness forgot was the vision and clarity that 1973 Constitution had already given to the people. On the eve of the unanimous passage of this Constitution, Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto had said, and I quote, "This Constitution now belongs to the people. They are the owners and they will defend it." His words proved prophetic, as despite all their mutual political and ideological differences, the people of Pakistan continued their joint struggle for reviving this agreed document. From the days of movement of restoration of democracy of the 80s to the Alliance of Restoration of Democracy, ARD, of 2000, the political parties, civil society, media, labor, women, minorities, and youth joined hands with one voice, restore 1973 Constitution and purge it from the infringement of dictators. While Shahid Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto, the first woman Prime Minister of the Muslim world, laid her life in Rawalpindi for this ideal, thrice Prime Minister Muhammad Sharif was forced into successive exiles. The joint voices of the people, however, could not be silenced. President Asif Ali Zardari and indeed the leadership of all truly democratic political parties were thrown behind bars. And yet we courageously cried, LFO, Na Manzoor, down with dictatorship. The dictator was once again defeated. Destiny smiled. Again, an 18th Amendment was brought to the book in 2010. The Constitution was not only restored to the previous glory, but further improved to fulfill the promise of complete provincial autonomy as envisioned by the Qaid-e-Azam and as promised in 1973. Ladies and gentlemen, April 10, 1973 to 210, and now to the year 2023. We have come a long way, and yet our journey for a truly Islamic, democratic, federal Pakistan is not over. The guarantee of 26 fundamental rights, as promised by the Constitution, still seek the light of the day. The pledge of Article 3, binding the state for the gradual elimination of all forms of exploitation to the universal principle, each according to his ability, to each according to his work, remains largely unfulfilled. The assurance of Article 25, calling no discrimination on the basis of sex, desires to be fully delivered, while the guarantee of 25A, assuring every child compulsory education, awaits our meaningful actions. We have to cover this distance between the promise and our performance. This distance will remain expanding if the democratic leaderships are kept hostage to palace intrigues and midnight assaults. While the narrow populist nationalism drags society to a fascist interpretation of democracy, the institutions are still struggling to imbibe the true spirit of the Constitution as enshrined in its very preamble. Sovereignty belongs to Almighty Allah, and authority to be exercised by the people of Pakistan through their chosen representative. This august house, ladies and gentlemen, is the nucleus of power. It is the author of the Constitution. It is the sole legislative organ. The people's will stems from here, and all institutions must be answerable to this sovereign and supreme body of the people. This is the crux of our Constitution, and this is our only way to an all-inclusive, mutually respecting, diverse, and dialogue-based Pakistan. My Shaheed leader, Benazir Bhutto, used to say, democracy is not a product, it is a continued process. She would often quote Goethe, freedom must be reinvented in every generation. And she would teach us that constitutional democracy is not all about changing a regime through ballot, but creating and strengthening the very building blocks of democracy, namely a vibrant civil society, a free impartial media, a meaningful women's participation, inclusion of diverse voices without the discrimination of class, color, creed, race, and religion, a transparent election system, and an impartial and universally respected judiciary. These are the very building blocks that 1973 Constitution promised. And these are the very building blocks that as representatives of the people, we must strive to create in order to make Pakistan the ideal Islamic federal parliamentary democracy. This is what the Kai dreamed. This is what the framers of the 73 Constitution aspired for, and hence this should be our legacy to the future generation of our nation. As I conclude, I once again thank you all, especially our foreign delegates, and wish them a joyous stay in Pakistan. I thank you all. Pakistan, Payindabad.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for your enlightening address. Ladies and gentlemen, with the address of the Honorable Speaker, the convention stands open. We shall now have a group photo, which will be followed by tea. After tea, we will break out for the session's discussion. The session on federalism and devolution of power will take place in this very hall after tea, while the session on constitution and representation will take place in committee room number 2 on floor number 1. And the third breakout session on climate justice will take place in committee room number 5, which is situated on this very floor. The ushers, who can be distinguished by their uniform, white shalwar kameez and a green dupatta for girls, and a black waistcoat for all the gentlemen. You can identify them, and they would help you taking to the respective committee rooms as you desire so. Now, I would request you all to be seated here for the group photo, because the honorable guests on the podium will join you in the hall for the group photo. सामने. Please be seated. All of you kindly please be seated. The Saudi delegation has to go. Rest of you please be seated. I hope so. It's going to be a historic photograph within this hall. All of you please be seated. We'll have one photograph while you are seated, and in the other photograph, we'll request you to rise so that we have two photographs. Can you please take your seat? आप ये सेल्फी बाद में ले लीजिए, पहले प्लीज फोटोग्राफ होने दीजिए. Kindly please be seated. We are having the photograph. Can I request you all to please rise in your seats so we have a photograph while you are standing? Can I request all of you to kindly cover this LA? Please move a little so you cover the, and kindly here as well. And from here as well. Slowly, kindly, take a single step. आगे पीछे वाले आगे आने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो वहीं खड़े रहें. मैंने सिर्फ ये दरखास्त की है कि दरमियान में से कवर कर लें. इससे आपकी तस्वीर खराब होगी कि अगर आप जगहों को कवर करेंगे. Should I thank? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are breaking for tea. The tea is served in both lobbies as well as in the lounge. But may I request you that the tea break is only for 15 minutes, and the ushers kindly be gentle bringing them back in the halls. The first plenary, we are going to have the main plenary soon after in this hall. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have the plenary in this hall. After plenary, we'll have the breakouts. You will come back in the hall for the plenary. It's good to see you.